hunting for gold out in northwest Ontario as the winter approaches. Here to tell us more about the Lingman Lake Gold Project is Dan Denbow, the CEO of Signature Resources. Dan, it's a pleasure to have you back on. How are you?
I'm good, Shay. Thanks for having me on. And while we think winter's approaching, it's already been minus 32 up at the camp. So they would say that it's already winter is here.
As an Australian, I find it impossible to comprehend how cold that actually is. But you guys are actually drilling through this, which I think is remarkable. I'm sure it's business as usual for you. Now, I know this drill, the winter drill program, kicked off back in a much milder temperature in early November. Tell me, what's some of the work that's been completed to date?
Well, we got started right after we completed our equity raise in October. Gave us the funds to kick off this winter drill program. So we've got about 1,200 meters drilled so far. We finished the first 3 holes. We're about 200 meters into hole number 4. We just finished buttoning up camp this week, getting everything winterized so everybody can come home for the holidays, get a break after 45 days up in the tundra, you might say. It was good to get a break. They're going to come home, and then we'll kick back off not long after the new year, get started drilling again. But first 45 days, pretty successful.
That's great to hear. I also love that I've learned a new term today, and that is the term winterized. I did not realize that was a technical term in order to get your camp ready for what I'm sure is a difficult winter. Now, considering that you're probably halfway through this drill program, I've got to ask, what is the purpose of this program?
I mean, it has the real purpose is expanding. So we published our 43-101 in July. What the outcome of that was, it showed that we're still open at depth, still open laterally. So on our drill program, we're going to look at a group of holes that are east of the mineralized dike. Those are going to focus on expanding at depth. If successful, this will extend us 300 meters below where we've had mineralization before. So that's really roughly doubling our depth. That's very extensive. And on the west side of the diabase dike, as we know, it expands laterally. We have 3 holes going into the west. That will extend us probably 600 meters past where our last drill hole was in 2024. Our pit design in that 43-101 was 1.6 kilometers. So adding another 600 meters to the west, that's a pretty significant step out as well. So both of these are significant improvements. The other thing it's doing, and we can show in the graphic, we're including this new IP study that we've completed. We've been able to include that with our models. And it shows with this low resistivity and high chargeability that's where the mineralization is. And it's moved our targeting and allowing us to target these depths and out to the west better than what they were before.
Now, Dan, I know you've got some images on hand there to sort of talk us through what this program looks like visually.
Yeah, so it's been really exciting because we've been able to, with our model that we completed, we've been able to add in this IP and mag survey that we did. And you can see in this graphic, this is what the IP or the low resistivity looks like at 225 meters. The deep purple is where low resistivity is. That's where we've seen the high correlation of mineralization. And you can see that what we've been working on is kind of along the edge. The zones are represented here, the south, central, and north zone. And then in the yellow are the holes that we're drilling in this 2025 program. And what's exciting about this is we're going to be able to test this at depth. And if you take another look at this, these are the horizontal looks at the low resistivity at 125, 175, and 225 meters at depth. You can see that big purple area. And what we've shown here is the south and north zones. They crash right through that purple. They're falling all the way down. And you can see the red traces of our drill program. We're going down below where those zones are modeled, down below where that low resistivity is. And we hope that will prove where we're going. One last view I'll show you. This is hole number 5, just to further prove that concept. And you look at the drill trace of hole number 5, and it has that same horizontal section of that low resistivity. And you can see the south zone in green, north zone in red, and the bubbles below. That's where we intend to intercept those zones. This is what shows you what we're getting with this program. If we intercept where we expect it to be, that will be driving us down 300 meters below where our current mineralization is, and a doubling of that depth. That is a very large step out and huge expansion of this. And it's very exciting. I can tell you we have our results out for being assayed, but what is exciting is the leopard rock package that we have is the footwall for the north zone. And in the first holes we've drilled, we have hit that footwall within 5 meters of where we expected it to be. Now, we don't know what the results are going to be. We still have to assay it. The labs tell the truth, not just having, core, not just hitting structure. But by hitting that, we were very excited to see that the model was showing and continuing down at depth.
This is quite remarkable. Thank you very much for that. Now, you alluded to the fact that there are assay results pending, which tells me you're going to be starting 2026 with hopefully a bang. What does, the first few months of next year look like?
Well, for the drill crew, it's going to be very cold because they're going to be at camp again and having a drill. And we've already seen that test of minus 32. It's already been testing the water lines and the drill rigs, but they performed well in the winter program, so we're happy to see that. As I said, we do have assays out at the labs being worked on now. We do have samples. We should get those back early in January and get the results on that. We have a gold deportment study that we've talked about that we should be getting the final results for that as well soon. That's going to be answering a lot of questions about how the gold is contained, what holds it, is it refractory or not. That will allow us to structure and build a metallurgical test program that we'll do this winter as well. With all that done, we can really talk about what type of flow sheet does this project need? How do we get the gold liberated? And what kind of recoveries can we look at? Now, these are bench studies, and I don't want to claim that this is what you're going to build a mine on, but these are not part of a feasibility study. But they give us a good idea of what we can do and what we can move forward. And then we still have a lot of drilling to do. We have roughly 2,000 meters left to drill. We'll be getting those samples off. So all the way through spring, we'll be getting samples and getting results from this drill program starting in January, and it'll just keep going for the next couple of months as we finish this program. It's very exciting. But if this thing does extend another 300 meters or doubling at depth and extending 600 meters to the west, taking it from 1.6 to 2.2, that really is changing the game plan. Our reserve, our resources in that first mineralized resource estimate, 762,000 ounces. If we're doubling the depth and extending the length, that's got to change and grow it substantially, and that's what gets us excited.
It certainly sounds exciting. Listen, Dan, thank you so much for today's update. I wish your drillers well in that very tough northern winter ahead of them, and I look forward to checking in early January for the results.
Thank you.